All right, we got episode 27 of the Keep Going podcast, Athletes Shining a Light on Mental Health. I'm joined by Michael Sean, my boy, 10 years strong. How are we doing, brother?
Bless, man. I appreciate you for having me, bro. And just want to give you your flowers for what you guys are doing for mental health as a whole and for the next generation of athletes, man. So kudos to you guys.
No, man. We talked a little bit in the prelude about how long we've been doing this. That we'd be on a mental health podcast, I would have told you that something went really wrong at some point. So it's an absolute blessing to still have you in my life, man. And I know you're in the Wisconsin area now. So tell the listeners why you're here, why you were a good pick to be on the podcast today.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. I just have some value to add, man. I've had a pretty unique story from like childhood to college, and lots of ups, lots of downs. And I just want to be, of service to the next generation in any way that I can. That's always been my mission, was like, how can I impact the next generation in a way that I would have wanted when I was going through the ringer, so to speak. So yeah, man, we're here doing this for the next generation for sure.
I love that, man. Just impacting lives. And I know when we started this, we wanted to impact one life. And I think we've done that now. So being able to, I talked about last episode, this is not a cookie cutter stigma. This is something that we're working to impact as many people and meet them where they're at with their mental health. So appreciate you being a big part of that. And I know in your journey, and we'll go into everything, but what we do every week is we talk about what you did this week for your mental health. So I'm going to ask you, what did you do this week for your mental health?
Yeah, man. Well, first and foremost, you got to stay prayed up. God is like, he's the leader of my life. I've given my life to Jesus Christ. During the pandemic, I came back to my faith. And so, yeah, just keeping God close, keeping God at the center of everything that I do has been a huge like weight off of my shoulders. But aside from like spirituality, I've been really intentional about like self-care, taking care of my body. And the sauna, I don't know if you keep up with the snaps still, but sauna is life for me, man. Putting myself through like a stressful situation and pushing my mind daily in that sauna when it's hot and I want to just get out and bail, like, pushing the envelope a little bit to give myself, what I need and that competitive edge. Now that I'm no longer playing sports, like finding new ways to compete versus myself and just challenge myself every day. Definitely like keeps my mental health in the right way.
And this is why we have you on, man. We're 30 seconds in and you're already dropping bombs and knowledge for our listeners. I'm fired up already. Backseat of the car, fired up, man. And you said a couple of things I like. One, you talked about how you've been in the sauna, right? Like that's been your challenge. I'm reading David Goggins' book right now about, trying to get to that level where you're comfortable being uncomfortable. And I think that's super powerful. The second thing I like there is you being prayed up, you having that higher power, your faith. We're not here on this podcast to tell people what to believe in, but the fact that you found someone that you trust, someone that you rely on daily to be the man that you are today and have the beautiful family you do, have the career that you have exploded over the last couple of years, man. It's fun to watch you. And I know a lot of these things, a lot of these daily tactics have been a big part of that. For our listeners, anything else that you're doing daily that you feel like has been a cheat code, has been getting the answers to the test, I should say? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm a constant student, man. I feel like typically what happens when people finish like, high school, college, they stop learning, they stop being curious, they stop growing. And so for me, I realize that we're very much like bikes, bro. Like if we're sitting still, we're going to be tipping left, we're going to be tipping right. We might be thinking about, what we did in the past or what we could have changed about the past, or thinking about the future and things that we can't control. So for me, it's really just being proactive in the day to day and continuing to grow and develop and learn new things and implement new things that I learned. That's, moving me forward and keeping me on the right path.
No, I love that analogy too. And I think didn't put us here. Your higher power didn't put us here just to stay stagnant, stay in one place. Keep adapting, keep learning, be a sponge in this is huge. So I want to switch gears a little bit because I know I've known you now for 10 years. Faith has been a big part of your journey. When did you get connected back with the Lord's word, and when did this become a huge thing for you?
Yeah, man. So I guess I'll give a little context to my relationship and my faith up until now. So when I was young, my mom would force me to church. And if I'm being transparent, God knows my heart and he knows what I mean when I say this, but I hated church. My mom would drag me to like Spanish speaking church, and I didn't really understand Spanish. And so it's Sunday and I'm a kid and I don't want to be sitting there, somebody yelling at me, telling me how to live life or whatever they're saying. So I really despised it. And then, the pandemic hit and I had lost my identity. I was a student athlete prior, right? My whole identity was tied into that. And then I was a DJ after, and in between all of that. And then COVID hit, and man, I was lost. I was really lost. And I remember I was running on a track, and my buddy had sent me a sermon of a church that I attend, Pastor Stephen Furtick of Elevation Church, based out of Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to him.
Church,
And
bro. Yeah.
absolutely, bro. So he sent me a sermon. I was listening to it, and I was just running on a track, and it was a sermon about the woman with the issue of blood who had problems internally, and nobody could figure it out. And the sermon really connected with me because I had gone through a lot of things in life, and I felt like a lot of my battles were internal as well. And so I remember just listening to it and just breaking down, crying, bro, and realizing that in that moment, God was calling me back home. God was calling me to get connected with him. And shortly after I shared that video with my wife, and my wife and I had started watching their service every Sunday live. And then we decided we wanted to get married. We got married, and then we drove to North Carolina and together got baptized and surrendered our lives over to Jesus, man.
Man, I love that. And it's just knowing you for all these years. You've had this energy in you. It's like, where were you going to put it and for what good? And I think now, having a beautiful wife, having a beautiful baby now, it's crazy that you're a dad, man. Congratulations on that. But look at what God is doing for you now. I think that's so powerful. And God willing, that I'm proud of you, blessed to know you as you know. But let's transition. So now you have God in your life, right? A beautiful family. Tell me about your career stuff. What's going on in your day to day? Tell the people what you're doing right now to kind of not only impact lives, but fill your cup, impact yourself.
Yeah, for sure, man. So when the pandemic hit, DJing and the whole service industry went away. So I got into like digital marketing as a sales professional and was able to impact some businesses through selling and helping them, bridge the gap between where it is that they were and where they were looking to go, and showing them like how the company that I was selling for could like help them get to their outcome, help them get to their dreams, their goals. And there was something that sparked inside of me that was curious and hungry to like make that level of impact, but for my family and for other families as well. So from there, I learned how to sell and then invested into like mentors and coaches to teach me how to market, and then put all of the skill sets together to start a company with my wife. And essentially now we have a couple different businesses. One, we're helping solar companies with lead generation, marketing services, and then we also have an education company where we're teaching other marketing agencies how to land clients consistently to make impact and to increase their income and live their dream life, so to speak.
That in depth, man. I didn't know you were going in this with your wife, which has its definitely positives and the challenges along the way, because it's every day is a work day for you too, which I bet we'll probably dive more into that. But I like the fact that you've got out of your comfort zone again. Hey, let's have this financial freedom to help people. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%, bro. 100%.
No doubt, man. No doubt. And any success stories on your end that you feel like you want to share with our audience today?
Absolutely, man. So like my first ever client, I was able to help him go from making $0 in his online business to $30,000 within like 35 days or so. And just seeing the impact it's had. He's also a family man, has a family, married. So seeing the impact that, the things that I've learned and have passed on to him, how it's impacting his family, his life, their financial situation, to me is more rewarding than any amount of money could ever bring me, man, honestly.
And for our listeners, I say it every week, you got to run that back because you can hear it in your voice, man, how authentic that is, how much you care about not only making sure you and yours is good, but the people that you're impacting. And I think that's strong. I think that's lost in 2023 in today's world. Everyone is kind of either scrambling to make their own and not caring who they affect and how they cross paths with people for the wrong reasons sometimes. Yes. Sorry, I'm telling her to keep the car running. Sorry. You never know where I'm going to be, Janesville. But yeah, so what I'm saying is it's cool to see you fully invested in yourself and your own, but also other people. And if you listen to any podcast, guys, like Ed Milet or Inky Johnson or Jay Glazer, some of the ones that I listen to, it's about that servant leadership. I think you found your calling here, man.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. There's a power in community, man. And like, I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for mentors in DJing, if it wasn't for mentors in baseball, if it wasn't for mentors in business now, if it wasn't for even mentors and pastors in my spiritual life. So it's like, I don't want to be selfish and just take. There's a certain point in life where you have to take and consume, but then once you get to a place to where your cup is overflowing, you could then pour out to others. And I feel like that's the season that I'm in. I'm pouring from an overflowing cup.
Yo, I feel like I'm dapping you up on Zoom right now, man. Like I'm absolutely about what you're saying. And I feel so similar. And so does Luke. That's why we have these podcasts. Why we have you here. So listeners can hear this. It's about the people. It's about leaving this earth better than when you got here. And then when you get to those doors, you can look around and say, I gave my best. I think that's powerful, man. Love this. I'm juiced up. Backseat of the Ford Escape. I am juiced up right now. But let's transition. You mentioned baseball a little bit. That's how I know you. I'm going to tell you right now, for all the listeners, I will never forget meeting you, bro. You don't say this a lot by a lot of people. I'll never forget meeting you. You pulled up first day of tryouts at Oakton Community College. Shout out all the boys if they're listening, Billy Frotto and the Fighting Boys back in the day. But that's not what I want to talk about. I remember meeting you, bro. You pulled up first day of tryouts. This man shows up, if we're going to watch the YouTube, he shows up in a cutoff. I'll never forget, and is just spraying the yard. Confirm that story for the listeners.
Man, yeah, crazy. To be honest, man, I never really had like the proper training or coaching or anything. So I didn't have baseball etiquette. So I just showed up and what I had, and I saw the ball, hit the ball, and that's the fundamentals that I learned from early on. And yeah, that's what we did, man. We showed up, we showed out and did what we could.
And I'm going to go on record saying that there's no one that's ever done that in a JUCO tryout, shows up looking good, confident. It reminded me of like David Justice in Moneyball, where he shows up and he knows he can hit. And then fast forward, we played Oakton together. We go to Rockford University together, get to play again. Like our paths just keep crossing, God willing. Thank goodness. Happy it did. And you're still hitting at that point. So tell the listeners a little bit about what college sports meant to you and how it played such a big role in your life.
Man, college sports, bro. It's one of like my most memorable experiences. Like it's something that as a kid, like obviously everybody's dream is to like go to the MLB, be the next, at the time for me, it was like Sammy Sosa or, Aramis Ramirez. I'm obviously big Cubs guy, but yeah, obviously, God had different plans for me, but college was like that step right under it, right? It was like as close as I could get to it. So for me, it was everything, man. Being the first generation of student athlete in my family to go on and play a college sport. What is it, like 1% of student athletes in all of high school ever get to play college, something like that?
Yeah, man.
And so, yeah, for me, man, college baseball in specific just prepared me for life, man. Like baseball is one of those sports where you're failing, if you fail 70% of the time, you're considered a GOAT, right? And so with that, like having that mentality of knowing like you're not going to win everything, you're not going to be the best all the time. There's going to be days where you go 0 for 5. There's going to be days where you go 1 for 4. You know, it just it's the ebbs and flows of the sport, and that's definitely prepared me for what I'm doing now in business and as a father, as a husband, and as a servant, man.
Yeah. And I got to ask, man, because for being what, are you 30 now, brother?
Just turned 30. Yep.
I knew it, bro. I knew it too. Congrats on a big 3-0. But would you change anything?
Dude, I would do everything the exact same way if I had to. If I
Man,
could, I would.
Oh, man. And for our listeners, I think we get caught up in it sometimes, right? And I was having this conversation yesterday about being process driven, right? Shout out my boy Nick Clank. I got an accountability partner that is my guy. He'll be coming on in a couple of weeks. But we were talking about the process, right? And being process driven. And when you get to the top of the mountain, you look up, there's another mountain, and there's another mountain. And just knowing every day, if you give your best, that's success. That's the big thing. And I love hearing your journey because there's been a lot of ups and downs. But look at you now, man. Like, it's fun. It's fun to know you. And I know you're making such a big impact, man. Proud of you.
I appreciate it, man. There's that quote that says like the man that loves the journey is willing to walk further than the man that just wants the destination. And so I've really prided myself in being, you know, process focused, right? What can I do day to day to get me closer to whatever goal, whatever dream, whatever I want to accomplish? What can I do today? Because really that's all we have, right? Is the present moment. So really taking the time to be intentional about what we do in the day to day, that's going to lead us to where we want to go is always the best way to go about things from my perspective.
Man, that's it right there, man. That is very well said, my brother. That's very well said. Well, hey, usually I introduce my co-host Luke Wheat that's usually here. As you guys know, Luke Wheat is not here today. I got Rich Yeargin who just jumped in. Rich, do me a favor. Can you ask my boy Michael Sean the big question that we ask every week? Can you ask him?
What is one quote or one phrase that you would leave us with and the listeners to help us keep going?
Ooh, one quote. I gotta quote the Bible, man. Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, man.
I love that. I love that. Rich, you're fresh off a service, looking fresh, my boy.
Hey man, listen. I can't call it, man. I can't call it. I cannot call it. What's going on, man? Talk to me, Pat. I haven't talked to you in a minute. Talk to me.
Hey, we're happy to all be here. And Rich,
Yes,
thank you for taking time out of your day. I shared a little bit with my boy Michael here about his, like your story, and obviously you know a little bit about his. But yeah. I think that keep going quote there means the world to me because how you've now connected with your faith and how you've now brought that into other people's lives. As for a keep going moment, we touched on it a little bit already. Give me your keep going moment, man.
Keep going moment. Keep going moment. So middle of the season, senior year. I guess prior to that, junior year, right? I had dealt with you were there, Pat, several injuries, hamstring tear, pulls, hip flexor problems. I probably had one of my best hitting seasons that year and just kept getting hurt. And so senior year, I would pray every single day, asking God, like, man, you know, allow me to just show up every single day and give this my 120%. And if nothing else comes from it, God, if this is the end of my story with baseball, like I'm okay with that. And so, you know, I worked like a workhorse, first one in, last one out, senior year, every day. Anybody that was on that, you know, 2018 Rockford team could attest to this. And midway through the season, man, I tore a ligament in my foot, and my ankle was the size of a beach ball. And, you know, I had two choices right there, man. I could literally, you know, say, that's it. You know, I hurt myself. I can't play anymore. Or I can push through it and trust, you know, God to lead me through it. And yeah, I just continued to play, man. And there was something that happened that I kept pushing through, and I felt like I started running faster and hitting better and seeing the ball better. It was some supernatural stuff that I really just can't like put into words and describe. But my keep going moment was like in the middle of chaos, in the middle of pain, I just chose to lean heavily on God, and he pulled me through. And I ended up finishing like top 10 in conference that year with batting average and #1 on the team. And yeah, that was definitely one of the biggest keep going moments I've had.
And that's the definition of it, man. A keep going moment. When adversity and chaos set in, you were not scared. You leaned on your preparation. You leaned on who you are, and you leaned on your higher power. You leaned on your people, and you made an impact. And not only that on the field, but in the dugout, in your community. And you've done that to this day. I want to be conscious of everybody's time on the pod today, but it would be very, very unlike me to let you skate out of here without promoting what you're doing, telling the people what you're doing. So how can our listeners get in touch with you, my boy?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So on Instagram, you could find me, the Michael Sean. Sean is spelled Sean, Michael, Michael. And then I have a company called Agency University where we specialize in helping digital marketing agencies land clients. So if you're in the digital marketing space or want to get in that space, go to you go to agencyuniversity.co. Feel free to reach out, and we'll see if we can help you guys scale your company.
Man, love that. We definitely impacted thousands of lives today. I know it was a little bit untraditional. I know it wasn't how we usually do it, but I think that's the beauty of it, man. It's authentic. It's who we are. And I'm, like I said before, I'm blessed to know you. Now that we know we're both kind of in the Wisconsin area, I'd love to chop it up in person real soon, my boy.
Absolutely, bro. Looking forward to it.
All right, bro. God bless you, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you, guys. God bless you.
Yes, too. Peace.
Thanks, brother, for being on.
Yes, sir.
Rich, what we got, bro? I know you've been here for like 30 seconds. How we feeling?
Man, I'm good, bro. How you living? You looking good. You got the shades on. You got your hat. You rocking your chain. I mean, you that guy.
I'm trying to be, man. And that's you, bro. You're definitely him. I'm outside of a Janesville Cracker Barrel. Like, you just don't know where I'm going to be out here.
Yeah, bro. Like you out here moving. You moving.
It's good, though. It's real good. And I'm going to let you skate, bro. It's Family Sunday. I appreciate you jumping on. Can you let the listeners know that you're going to be here the next 2 weeks? Just let them know who you are and how you're going to be here.
Well, for everybody that's listening, I am no way, shape, form, or fashion anything close to what Luke is, but I will try my very best over the next 2 weeks to provide you all with a bit of a different outlook and perspective as it relates to mental health, as it relates to someone who, has gone through significant issues and things in life that will make you just give up and make you want to quit. But really deep dive into how I was able to keep going and inspire other people and impact them with my gifts by sharing them. So I look forward.
I appreciate it, bro. Go ahead.
No. Look forward to that, brother. Look forward to it.
And I told Luke this, man. It's open tryout season. This is cutthroat. If Rich brings it, we're gonna have to kick. No, I'm just kidding. No. Rich has been a huge part of my life for the last year plus now. I don't bring people on here, as you guys know, that I don't trust. And Rich is the definition of a brother to me at this point. And the way that he fills people's cups, the way that he puts himself way below others at times to really serve with God in his heart. I couldn't love Rich more. So anytime we can get Rich on here, we're going to. And Rich, thanks for jumping on, man. It's crazy 6 months ago that you kicked this off, brother. I appreciate you.
Bro, I mean, just the growth, right? Talk about enduring faith, right? Planting seeds that sometimes you may not see the harvest right away, right? You don't know if you're making the impact that you wanted to make or you initially set out to make on your mission. But when you start to see things happen, you can't take credit for it. You got to give the glory back to the man above. And I love that you do that, bro.
No, all love, bro. And I've said it before when Mikey was still with us on here. Everyone has their thing, right? But at the end of the day, it's being a good person, leaving this world better than when we got here, right? So we leave it better than when we got here on earth. So I think that's the journey. I think that's the lesson. I think that's the blessing as well. Rich, I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to wrap us up today. Give our listeners some words of wisdom going this week during this Memorial Day weekend.
All right, so this is the Pentecostal weekend where basically you've got to surrender over all of your plans and make known to the Lord that you're willing to walk in accordance with his will. So what I'll ask you to do is say to yourself in moments this week where you may not want to press on, that this too shall pass. Whatever this too means to you, whether that's a trauma, whether that's a situation on your job, whether that's a conniving, manipulative friend or family member, right? Don't allow that situation or condition to hold you hostage, because this too shall pass.
I love that, man. Keep going, my boy Rich. Can't wait to fire it up with you for a full episode next week. And you enjoy the family Sunday, all right, my boy?
Thank you, my boy. I'll see you next Sunday.
Love you, bro. Keep going.
Sir.